Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. On this episode we are going from Auckland to Otorohanga. Otorohanga is also known as Waitomo. Otorohanga is a small town. You pretty much have one main road which gives you all your shops and your restaurants. With this said, you are only limited to motels. No hotels are available in this town. We came into this town to do the cave tours where they do have glowworms, so pretty much we just spent only a day in this town. So the place that we booked was this place here. I did book 2 rooms for us here, and I did request an accessible room. We reached our destination after a long drive from Auckland to find out that the room was not as accessible as I thought it was. I do recommend calling up beforehand to make sure that your room that you booked is accessible. I'm just going to show you through the room that they gave us. Through here is where the bathroom and the restroom are. So the bathroom, as you can see, my chair will not fit through there. The basing is metal, which even if I do put a chair there, it will slide. And the shower head, there's no way that I'll be able to reach there.
What cat are you stuck in the toilet?
I'm trying to get out. As you can hear, my partner thought this was very funny that I was stuck in that little area. It is very hard for that chair to go in. I do have a very narrow chair, and if you do have a wide chair, there is no chance. The staff were very friendly and did understand the difficulties that I was having in this room, so they did put us into another room which was a little bit better. It wasn't fully accessible, but I did have the chance to be able to get into the bathroom and toilets. So the following day we started our journey with the cave tour. There are multiple cave tours in this town, but the one that we booked was wheelchair accessible. I will put the link down below if you do want to check this out. We did see a group go to the entrance of the cave, which we thought that we were running late, so we did rush over to this group, finding out that this was the wrong group. While waiting for our group, we thought we'll let my little man run around and waste a bit of energy. When you book these tours online, they do send you an email with relevant information that you will need to know. One of them is to allow up to 1.5 hours of the tour, and the second is to check in 30 minutes prior to your tour departure. Once you get there, they will let you know where the meeting spot is, so you'll have to meet at the spot. With wheelchairs, they do allow you to drive to the entrance of the cave, and they do also say with prams and wheelchairs that the width must not exceed up to 65 centimeters. Also with wheelchairs, they do recommend to contact them prior to your tour, so that they have an understanding of how many chairs will be in that group. However, I do recommend getting someone to give you a hand if you don't have the function to be able to push up hills. There are some pretty steep hills that you'll have to go up, and some that you'll have to go down, so you'll have to have pretty good grip. After a little bit of wait, you can see that our group has arrived and we can start the tour. At this point, our tour guide tells us what we can and can't do during the tour. One of them is to not to touch the walls. Apparently it can affect the walls and damage them, which they don't want. They did say to keep your hands in your pockets if you can't resist touching the walls. Also, during the start, when you check in, you're supposed to let them know if you do need a chair or not. We do have one person here that forgot to let them know that they needed a chair, so our tour guide now is going to get a chair for that person just before we start the tour.
But for now, when you guys are ready, we'll slowly start to head on through.
Perfect.
Awesome.
It does get a bit dark when we enter the cave due to the lack of lighting. This is because the glowworms will lose their glowing with the light, so they try to keep it as dark as possible. Wish I could have showed you guys how amazing this entry was to the cave. They did make it a spiral entry. I will try find a picture online and post it up so you guys can have a vision of how amazing it looks. So from here we'll travel down approximately 60 meters underground, and this tour does take about 90 minutes. It is a 1.6k tour, but with all the stoppages it does take a while. This cave was first discovered by a Maori hunter 400 to 500 years ago, and the only way he found this was because he was getting attacked by dogs and he had to hide under shelter so they didn't get him. So this cave was first opened to visitors in 1904 by James Holden and the ancestors of the family that still own much of the land above the cave system. It was the second cave in the region to be opened as a visitor attraction and was quickly announced by early visitors to be visually impressive. So this is the bottom area that I just reached. I did turn around and wait for the group to come down before we continued. From here we did have to go through another door. This was the reasoning why I did wait for the group and for the tour guide so that she can punch in the code and let us through into the cave. As you can see, the other person's carer did think it was a bit hard going down there, and she shook her hands to just give it a bit of a break. Because you do go in a line and you have to follow each other, I do recommend that you do go in front so you don't have to wait for anyone else. When you do go up hills, it just makes life a bit easier. So the way the camera's picking it up is the way we see it as well. We'll just follow on the lights until we came into certain spots, and they did have lights to show the limestones.
So we are in a whole cave full of limestone, but the minerals in our cave system are made of calcium carbonate. So very similar to obviously like our bones and our teeth and all that kind of stuff. Now the reason why they're made of calcium is because within the limestone, again, with it being a sedimentary rock, means it's made up of a lot of sea life. So things like shells, bones, teeth, coral, sand. All of that kind of stuff is kind of brought through the limestone with little water droplets. And so as that kind of filters through the limestone and enters into our cave system, over time starts to form a lot of our formations that you see. So one of the more common ones are the stalactites. The ceiling comes down with. It probably takes 100 to 200 years to grow the size of this thumbnail.
Wow.
So, yeah. Again, very old. The whole reason why we don't want people touching them is because oil and water, they do not mix. So simply enough, you may think, oh, I'm just going to touch this part here. And that literally causes all the damage and ruins it for the rest of the people that come through. So, yeah. actually the biggest cause of the damage that has happened throughout many of our caves during, you know, I guess the history of Waitomo and others.
So this is what she briefly went over just before the tour, not to touch the walls and to keep our hands off them. If we can't resist touching them, to put our hands in our pockets. And if you do touch the walls, they do bring the tour to an end and the whole group does come out, so pretty much you do ruin it for everyone.
The roof does hang quite a little bit low in some areas.
I'm safe. I thought that was a funny joke, but some may not.
We had a lady come through with her wheelchair. You know the mobility speakers.
Oh.
It was that, but it wasn't as big. It was like literally the wheelchair that you're in.
Yeah.
But with a mini like motor.
Yeah.
It actually went pretty well.
Yeah, right.
I was kind of almost jealous that I didn't have one.
So here I think she was trying to tell me why I didn't have a motorized chair and I was pushing myself. You can have a motorized chair if you like, but I do like to push myself and do a bit of exercise at the same time. So if you do have one of those e-drives that connect to your manual chair, I do recommend putting those on during this tour. It would give you a much more easier push when you're going up some of these hills. So to get back out, you pretty much just go in a circle and end up going out from where you came in from. So to get out, you will need to push back up that spiral entry that we came down. I do recommend someone pushing you up because I definitely needed a hand getting up that hill myself. And like I said earlier, try to get in front so you don't have the trouble that I had and wait for the person in front. So once you're out of the caves, your tour does come to an end and you are free to go.
That's pretty much it. You're all free to leave.
At this point, everyone was pretty tired going back up that hill, so we did have a bit of a breather before we left. This is where I'll be wrapping up this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe,